Welcome to episode 10 of the Iowa Girls Wrestling Stories podcast. Today, I welcome Ady Lundquist. She's had a standout high school career. Now she's coaching and going to school. Ady, it's really good to see you. And this is like a big episode because it's the number 10. So, you're one of the little check mark there. So how are you doing?
Good. Yeah, just moved to Lincoln. I'm sort of just getting comfortable. Just got a new job and everything with waitressing. So yeah,
Very
it's been
good.
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 Yeah,
How's Lincoln? I mean, it's not my place to go. I would have gone to Ames if I were you, but how's Lincoln?
it's good. It's a bigger city. I mean, I lived in Sioux Falls for a little bit, but it's a little bigger. Like everything's closer together, so kind of hard to
Yeah.
adjust from my small town.
Yeah, no, I've been to Lincoln a few times. It is pretty cool. That downtown area where they have, I think everybody goes to watch games and stuff like that. I've been down there
Yeah,
and
that's like
stuff.
where I live.
That's pretty cool. So you're in Lincoln and you said you spent a little bit of time in Sioux Falls. Um, I think this is kind of important to talk about because uh, how did you get to Sioux Falls and what happened that kind of led you back to Lincoln, you know?
I got to Sioux Falls with, I was recruited by a lot of places, so I would go on visits everywhere, and I never went to one place twice, which I kind of wish I would have. I think that would have made a difference in where I went. And USF was actually the last place I visited, and I kind of just felt like this is where I wanted to go, and I was sold on it. Um, I talked a lot with the coach, and I think that kind of just sold me. And I was between USF and Wartburg when I decided. So Brady Kiner was the coach at Wartburg. So telling him that I wasn't choosing Wartburg was really hard for me. Um, but yeah, so kind of just right after my visit, I decided that's where I wanted to go was USF, and I just started messaging all the coaches and made my decision then. Um, but yeah, obviously that didn't work out for me. I didn't want to wrestle anymore. And then my dad lived in Lincoln. He went to college at UNL, so then that's kind of what drew me back here because I didn't really want to live at home.
Understand
So.
that. So do you think, and this is, something maybe I can get better at too. Do you think as coaches and parents and stuff, especially with the way girls wrestling is now, so many opportunities for girls to go on. Do you think we push college maybe a lot more than we should, and maybe we should explore things a little bit more before just sending people out into the wrestling world or the wrestling college world?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, especially for the girls that are kind of like a little more advanced in wrestling or have been, there for since the beginning. I think people just expect them to go on to college. Like, why would you give up after high school? I think that's kind of how I felt, but for me, it was more of the fact that I didn't start wrestling until my freshman year. So I was like, I don't want to be done. So
Mm-hmm.
since my freshman year, I kind of decided that's like I wanted to wrestle in college. But towards the end of my high school career, I was kind of iffy about it still. But I had already like committed to it. I felt like so. I don't know. I feel like people do kind of push it on you, but you're also pushing it on yourself based off of other people's expectations.
Yeah.
So.
So I think if I remember right, we had a talk and you said the Sioux Falls didn't even have the major you really wanted to do. I think that happens a lot also, that I think we think we should go to this school and this school, and we forget that
Mm.
maybe college is the reason we're there is to get that education for afterwards. So I guess I won't dwell on that. But so what do you do? What are you going to school for now?
Now I'm going for nursing. I actually switched my major multiple times. So when I like originally decided on USF, I was going for exercise science, and they did have that. But then towards the end of the summer, like going into my freshman year of college, I decided to switch to sonography, which that's what they didn't have. And they were like, well, we have rad tech, which that's similar, but it's not the same, you know. But now I'm going for nursing. I'm going to get my BSN. I'm
That's
just getting my associates in science right now, so then I'll transfer to a nursing program.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a definitely a great career to go into. You said you're helping out a little bit with the best wrestler,
Yeah,
coaching a little bit. How's coaching?
it's great. Yeah, so I reached out to my old coach at the Best Wrestler, um, And he told me, he's like, well, do you want to coach? And I was like, sure. I was just reaching out about reffing. I was like, who can I get in touch with to start reffing in Nebraska? And he's like, well, you could do this too. So, I mean, I think it was awesome that he offered that opportunity for me. They kind of focus a lot on making sure that their athletes are successful even after they're done wrestling for them. So that was great. So then he offered me this coaching position, and I started coaching little kids, and it's great. I love it. Just giving back to the kids and teaching them, watching them learn to love what I love, especially the girls. I mean, I love coaching the little boys too, but the girls, I know they kind of look up to me, like they're not used to having a girl coach or somebody like a mentor in that, area. So
Yeah,
it's great.
that's great that you're doing that. We need a lot of female coaches and stuff. So when you're done doing that and you want to move to Holstein, I got a spot for you. So just remember that. But the other thing you mentioned is you're doing some refereeing too.
I actually haven't started doing any of that and like it.
Oh, okay. Well, I got you covered there too. Nadine is going to come do a wrestling clinic at our school, and it's all free. So if you're open that weekend, you should come up and do the wrestling clinic so you can get certified in Iowa. But
Okay.
we'll let that be. Um, you coached at Twin Rivers last year, also dual
Mhm.
team. Yeah, I think you had a little bit of rough experience because your team got shorted a little bit, but what was it? It was pretty fun. I always find that tournament really fun, and you got to coach with Matt Daniels a little bit. How's Matt?
He's great. He helps me a lot through wrestling, through
Yeah,
in high school and everything.
he's
So
a great dude. What do you did you like coaching the dual team?
I did. It was kind of hard because we were going against so many Iowa teams as well. So it's kind of like, how do you do that? How do you coach against like girls that you know?
You just coach who you
So
got. You coach who you
I
got.
know
It's fun. Uh,
it was fun.
let's go back to you said you started your freshman year, which is really starting kind of late. And I'm not 100% positive, but did I coach you? Was I coaching you at your very first dual? Well, first dual tournament, probably for sure. But Mat of Dreams in Coraville. I think that
Mm-hmm.
was the singlets that were kind of blue and white tie dye. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So was that kind of your first experience dual team wise for sure?
Yeah, that was like my first national competition. I would say, other than actually my first tournament ever was a national tournament, just because I wanted to get on the mat and the season hadn't started yet. But that was my first like with experience, like where I was actually out there, and it was awesome getting to meet the girls, especially, and just making like a community out of it with wrestling. Because my freshman year, I think that was after my freshman year, going into my sophomore year
Okay.
when we did that. And my freshman year, it was just me and my dad at the tournament. Like I never, any of the girls, I never had like a community there really. So then starting to get into the dual teams was really helpful for me and helped me like love the sport more
Yeah.
with the
And
people.
you were at was it Southwest Valley? Is that right? What is
Mm-hmm.
am I right on the school? Because
Yeah,
dad coached you all through high school, right?
yeah,
How was having dad as a coach through high school? And
it was good.
we won't hurt his feelings or anything, but is it difficult or
Um, I think some people think, oh, your dad's kind of taking it easy on you, or like your dad's doing this because you're his daughter. But I felt like he was more of a coach than a dad to me throughout high school. Like, even no matter where we were, we'd be at Christmas, we're talking about wrestling. Don't eat this, don't eat that. So it was just more of a coach relationship almost. Like we didn't let the family get in the way of it. I was just with my coach all the time. So,
which is really kind of cool. I mean, and I
yeah.
can't imagine your dad taking it easy on you. I know him pretty well. So, and then
Yeah,
was what so I'm trying to get timeline because I think you are a year older than like Tatum and Izzy, right?
right.
So you had one sanctioned state tournament, is that correct?
Yeah, my senior year. Yep.
Okay, and that is the only year you would have been with SWAT, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So and SWAT's broke up now, and is your dad still coaching girls at Southwest Valley?
He is actually Southwest Valley and Lennox
Okay,
combined now.
very cool.
So he's coaching those with Derek Mater. as well. So
And
they're
is your
doing.
twin on that team or is your twin on the other team?
She actually moved to Clarinda, so she'll be
Okay.
wrestling for Clarinda this year.
Very
Yeah.
good. So that's kind of a funny story. I think it was at my tournament, my home tournament. I was sitting there talking to who I thought was Ady for probably 5 minutes, and the girl probably thought, "Who's this crazy man?" And then I realized that it wasn't you because you have a twin somewhere out there. That's crazy. So,
Yeah.
who is this young lady? I keep forgetting her name.
Maddie McCoy.
Maddie
Yeah.
McCoy. Gotcha. Yeah, that
She's
was
ranked ninth right now, I believe,
nice.
actually.
Very
Yep.
nice. Good deal. Yeah, Clarinda's got a good thing going down there, I think. I think that's really
Mm-hmm.
good. Southwest Iowa's a little bit behind, I think. Well, Northwest Iowa's behind, but numbers wise, Southwest Iowa's a little more sparse anyway, too. So
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to find people. So how is wrestling at SWAT?
It was kind of up and down. I mean, I loved having a team of girls to wrestle with and support, and like we had the duels and stuff, which was great because I had only been on duels with the boys, and then like my junior year it was just me. I didn't do any duels or any of that stuff. So that part of it was great, having like a team of just girls and seeing it grow like that. But it was also challenging in a way because I felt like I was more coaching and teaching these girls the majority of the time because they were so new to it and I wanted to help them, but it was hard for me to get a good practice in when they were so far behind me and I had to like teach them a lot of things. So that was challenging, but
That is a
it was still
challenge.
fun.
That really is a challenge that's happening in a lot of rooms. I'll say it happened in our room. I was fortunate to have a few girls that I could put together, and get them their practice in. But a lot of times they had to help coach too, because we have a room full of brand new kids wrestling. And that's challenging, rewarding, but frustrating, especially when you're seeking titles, right?
Right.
You got to practice hard every day to get to that level. Um, I kind of had to look through some of the stuff you'd done. And one of the things that kind of stood out to me is I think you might have wrestled in more IA wrestle Night of Conflicts than any other person in the world. Have you wrestled in three separate Night of Conflicts?
Yeah, I did.
How is that? What's that experience like? That is I think those events are so cool, but what's it like to actually get a wrestle in those events?
It was so cool, especially the first time I did it was actually the first time that they had girls wrestle in that event. So I was really nervous, honestly, because I was wrestling Jalen Goodale, and I had lost to her. So this was actually we wrestled multiple times, but this was the second time that I had wrestled her, and she beat me the first time. So I was a little nervous, especially with all the people watching, and it was kind of like a publicity like thing, like everybody was, posting and just I don't know. So that was nerve wracking. But then going into it the second time, I was really excited for that match. And then ended up coming out on top to Breeza Figueroa, who had beat me at Disney Duels, and that was a hard loss for me. So I really was excited for this one, and I ended up beating her. So that was kind of nostalgic in a way, especially like in the area that we were in. It wasn't just like a regular tournament. Like I got to beat this girl that I had been thinking about in the back of my mind. Like I shouldn't have lost that match. So that was great. And then I wrestled Hannah Rogers the third year and didn't come out on top that time, but
Well,
it was so.
that's all right. Just being showcased in those events is really cool. It is. I mean, the girls' side of that event, and they've kind of gone to different locations, so I'm not as involved because it's not in Northwest Iowa anymore. But man, the girls almost had more fans there, I think, than the guys. It was really loud to start because I think for sure the one you wrestled Brisa in, I think it almost was empty by the time the boys got finished, but the girls were it was loud and rocking. It was really fun. So, yeah, no, that's cool that you got to do those. You've done all kinds of dual tournaments and things like that. You mentioned Disney duels.
Mhm.
How many times did you go down to Florida? Was it
Twice.
twice? Twice.
Just yeah.
What's that experience like? From I'll put that on as an athlete experience. I know the coaching side of the experience. What's the athlete experience like down there?
It was kind of a lot. It was really draining, honestly, because you were you were wrestling all day and then you would go to the parks or you would, like just being busy all the time was really tiring, but it was also kind of made it more fun and kind of made me realize more that this is for fun. Like, yeah, we care how we do, but wrestling is it's fun, and the teams were always great and it was just fun. So
Yeah, you had, I think, I'm sure because you're in Southwest Iowa, Hannah was a good friend of yours, maybe for a long time, but I know you and Hannah really connected down in Florida, and 2 years in a row, I believe, and stuff.
yes.
So I really enjoy that tournament. It's actually switched locations now. It's in Fort Lauderdale,
Oh,
so you might even enjoy it more because we spend most of the time hanging on the beach. So
that would be so much better.
yeah. So maybe in the future we'll see if there's some coaching positions available for these younger coaches coming in. But just
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool. What other tournaments did you do? I know you did Wonder Woman, which is really growing. I don't know how big it was when you did it, but I think I looked at brackets and they were 64 person brackets now. But tell me about some of these
Um,
other experiences that pop in your head.
yeah, Wonder Woman, I kind of forgot about that actually, but that was really fun. I remember when we went down there, I was like, how is this just like a state, like it's not like a, you know what I mean? Just a
Yeah.
regular tournament they have that people come to and they have these huge brackets. Um, it was really cool actually because it felt like you were almost at a national tournament, but it was in the middle of high school season.
Yeah.
So it gave me some good competition. I mean, with like you said, wrestling in Southwest Iowa isn't growing very much. So a lot of the time I would be wrestling the same girls or girls that had just started. So going down there and getting that competition was awesome. Um, I'm trying to think of other tournaments. Preseason nationals was a big one for me. So I placed fourth there my senior year. And the year before I went there and I went like 0-2, I think. Um, and I had just trained so hard between those years that I think that just like making it from going 0-2 and then making it on the podium, I don't know. It was just exciting for me.
Was that when you switched to the best wrestler? Kind of that time
I
frame?
went kind of, yeah. So the first year I wrestled at preseason nationals, I had only been at the best wrestler for a few months. So yeah.
Yeah. So what's that room like? I mean, I've actually talked to him about coming down and just sitting in the corner and watching because I think they do a fantastic job. But what's some of the things that you've taken from that room?
A lot of discipline. It's very, they discipline a lot. Like no talking in the practice room because you can't, your brain can't really multitask. You can't focus on wrestling and like absorbing all this knowledge if you're also talking. Like, yeah, you'll get the muscle memory, but you won't get all the like little tiny details that are going to make the move work and like be amazing. So that taught me a lot of trying to focus on every move I do, even if I'm getting sick of doing the move, because we would drill one move for an hour straight, and they're like, get it down. And you think you got it down, but are you going to do it in a match?
Yep.
Like you have to get comfortable enough to where you would do it in a match. It doesn't matter how well you know the move, it's how like confident you get with every little thing in the move. So that's something that I learned a lot there. Um, yeah,
But
a lot of
they've
mentality.
those two have done amazing things in that area, and so it's cool that you're back there coaching with them. So I started a youth girls club this year, and I'm not normally a youth person. I'm kind of middle school, high school up is kind of where my comfort zone is. How do you keep youth girls quiet for a practice? Tell me your
Um,
secret.
the girls aren't the issue, believe it or not. I've got about two girls in my practices, and they really will absorb everything that I tell them, and they want to learn. The boys, they get kind of, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna talk to this kid right now. Like um, and I would tell them to run, but the thing is, little kids love running. They love to just.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really work. I tell them to do push-ups. I'm like, if you're gonna talk, do push-ups, and then I'll work the move with the kid, with his partner while this other kid's doing push-ups. So I guess that's kind of how I discipline them. Or my coaches used to do this a lot. They would just yell at us if we couldn't do the move, which is not like, I guess, asking questions on things that they already touched on, really. Like they would space off when we were showing the move in practice. And it's like, why don't you know this? I just showed you this, like,
Uh-huh.
So
That,
kind of disciplining them like that to the point where they know, oh no, I need to start paying better attention because they keep yelling at me when I can't do the move because I wasn't paying attention.
yeah, I started doing this, and maybe it's something you could try too. You show the move 3 or 4 times, 5 to 6 angles, so they can see it every way, and somebody's staring up at the ceiling and stuff. So I've actually been having people come out to the center and demonstrate the move after I show it
Mm-hmm.
to demonstrate for somebody else. And it really puts them on the spot. So sometimes it's like, oh, I have to pay attention. Dang it, he's going to call on me. So
Yeah.
that's something I
Yeah.
didn't do for high school, but I'm going to start doing it for high school too, because it's fairly effective.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
let's talk about state tournaments, whether it was AAU state, uh, IWCOA states, the girls union. Um, you had, I believe, almost every year. I think your first one, IWCOA, you were in the finals. Was it against Jalen? Do you remember? I don't remember if it wasn't.
Uh, are you talking about AAU
No,
or?
IWCOA. Probably
Oh, okay.
was.
That was my first year. I placed fifth, actually, my
Okay.
freshman year.
Okay.
Right.
So it had been your sophomore year, you were in the
Yes. But
finals.
yes, sophomore year, I was in the finals against Ella Schmidt. So
Okay. Gotcha. I'm trying to
that
remember
was kind
back.
of intimidating. No,
I
it's
bet.
okay.
I bet so. I'm trying to doing this from memory doesn't always work for me because I'm getting old and senile. Got a couple years before I'm in the home, so
Don't say that.
but um, I know a couple tournaments in a row. Might have been a couple years in a row. You were up. You're wrestling Jalen, and the headlock came out. I know it was at least 2 tournaments in a row. Might have been IWCOA and the state AAU state tournament.
Yes, that was
And
my junior year.
that was your junior year, and the term headlocks happened came out. Um, I know that really upset you a lot, and stuff. But your senior year, this is, and people don't get to see this when they're at the girls' state tournament. That back room, uh, we were having quite a pity party. I
Oh,
think if you remember that, but
I do.
we were having quite the pity party in our little circle. But and you did great coming over and talking to the girls. But probably one of the neatest things that's happened to me at that tournament is you had the same person for third and fourth again. You're wrestling, and you finally won that match, and you came back. And I don't even know how, if we were probably some of the first people you were excited about, and it was a really cool experience. But how in your mind, 2 years in a row, or 2 tournaments in a row, 2 big tournaments in a row, headlock comes out. That third tournament, I didn't get to watch the match because I was involved in something else at that time. How did that go? And mentally, how did you get through that?
Mentally, I was so nervous for that match because I was already upset on myself the whole day. Obviously not making it to the finals my senior year, which is what I wanted. So I was upset on myself that whole day. And my dad just kept telling me, you have to just wrestle how you wrestle. Because when I would wrestle Jalen, my nerves would get to me and I would start trying to do things that weren't me. It wasn't how I wrestled. And he's like, you got to just wrestle. And I think once I stepped onto the mat for that match, I was just kind of more in my head about this is my last high school match. Like my dad's not gonna be like, I wasn't even nervous about the match anymore. I was just kind of like, I need to take in this last match. Um, so started wrestling. I just wrestled how I wrestle. I wrestled my style, worked on new moves that I had learned over the year, like since the last time I had wrestled her. And she just wasn't expecting it because I feel like I had progressed so much to the point with all these new moves that she wasn't ready for, or I don't know, but it was made me really excited when I did beat her. Like that was the best way that I could have ended the tournament, I think, even though I didn't like get first place. I was never the state champ that I always wanted to be, but like I feel like that had a deeper meaning to me, just
Yeah,
getting that final win
I mean, you
against
guys have
her.
been wrestling 4 years. The whole career was back and forth with you, and I think you'd probably get her sometimes, and then but always in those big matches she got you, and it usually
Yes.
was it again. It was on that headlock, and that's hard to deal with, especially when you're even up in those matches. Sorry to bring that back and cut that knife
No,
a
it's
little
okay.
bit, but I that was a pretty special moment for us, and that even us having our little issues that day, you coming back, I think really brightened up everybody else's day a little bit too. So that was
Yeah.
awesome. That was really good. Um, we've talked a lot about wrestling, a whole, and I know there's more to than that about you. What are some things you like to do?
I don't even. I like to lift. I like to work out, which wrestling kind of brought me into that, and I still care about my health a lot. Like I'll try to eat cleaner, try to work out. Maybe just out of habit. I don't know, but that's just how I am. So I like to focus a lot on that. And then just spending time with my friends, my family, doing whatever they're doing. That's kind of what I do.
No big hobbies or anything. You're not a photographer like your mom or anything.
No,
No,
no
gotcha,
way.
gotcha. All right. Well, then I'm going to throw out some different questions, and let's see if we can't get to know you just a little bit better. Cats or dogs?
Dogs. I have a cat actually, but I like dogs better.
Yeah, there you go. Good girl. What's your favorite color?
Green.
Green. Very good. If you had your choice, would you visit the mountains or go to the ocean?
Mountains.
That surprises me, actually, to tell you the truth.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like it's
Um,
because I've been to the ocean so much, it's not even like
it's not that important anymore.
I've never really been to the mountains.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha. So, what genre of music do you listen to?
oh, I listen to a lot of Christian music, honestly, and then country a lot too.
Okay. And before, what's in the headphones before we're going out for a match?
Oh, okay. Honestly, just a mix. I don't even know. Kind of rock pump music. Whatever my brother's old playlist was that he used to warm up to in high school, that's what I started listening to when I would go out and wrestle.
Do you have any are you superstitious before you wrestle? Do you have to have the same this or that, or do you do a ritual at all?
Before, kind of, I would always walk away from the center, put my ankle band on, jump up and down a couple times. I would tell myself, can't beat me. Oh, whoa, I can't even remember. Uh, I don't remember what I would just tell myself something.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I would run back to the middle, slap my legs, shake hands, which that was kind of important to me because my dad told me from the very beginning when I started wrestling, you need to have something that's like lock in. Like you need to have a ritual, something that you do every time that you wrestle. So you're just like, this is what I do. Why
Yeah.
am I nervous? I'm wrestling. So I did that
Something
every time.
something to flip that switch a little bit. That's really
Yes.
good advice. We talk about that in our practices, and I don't know if the girls pick up on that, but you can definitely see those that do, like a Felicity Taylor is you can just she's locked in when she does the jump and the slap and things like that. And I do remember you doing those same things. Um, I think you know uh, we've been around each other for a long time and stuff, and one of the things I do remember before we kind of close this stuff out, I believe you played the spoiler in the Jolynn episode of Unsanctioned, um, which I kind of had that feeling anyway, but uh, it was pretty fun to. I'll always have a video of you in there, so it's pretty cool. We've got to do a lot of things together, so we've been on dual teams quite a few times. I've had to bring you up a lot of times. Are there any things that you can remember from those? I have something. I was seeing if you remember this the same way. Something from me coaching you. Is there something that you've taken away from that?
I definitely remember I cried to you a lot. Like a lot. And for me, it was like, don't even think I would get so upset about the matches that I lost. It was more the matches that I won, even, and I knew I wrestled badly in. because I put a lot of pressure on myself. And I just remember having a bunch of conversations with you about it doesn't matter that much. Like, don't put pressure on yourself. You told me multiple times, like, nobody else cares that much if you if you win. Like, you care more than anybody else, because I was always stressed about other people's expectations for me. Um, so that definitely stuck with me. You've helped me through a lot of stuff with that. So
Well, very cool. Do you have any final words of wisdom for the young ladies still wrestling out there?
it's not that deep. That's my words of wisdom. Don't pressure yourself so much, because I think that's one of the things that pushed me out of the sport, was the expectations that I had for myself kind of made me not even love it anymore, because I just wanted I it became so competitive for me that it wasn't fun anymore. So
That is very good advice. That is very good. So we'll just keep going on that same thought. Now, as a coach, because you're getting into coaching, how are you going to help those young ladies maybe not have that same expectation on themselves?
just remind them that it's fun. Why'd you start this? Why are you doing this? It's fun, you know? You don't have to you don't have to win every match, just as long as you're learning and you're growing. I don't
Very
know.
good. Very
You
good.
just gotta make it fun.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Hold on for a second. I'm going to stop the recording and then we'll talk for a minute. All right.